Last year, I deleted an entire workflow at the top of 2025. Not archived it, not paused it, delete it. What took me about 4 years to build, completely gone. And it was honestly one of the best decisions I've ever made for my business, because here's what nobody tells you about systems. Sometimes the most strategic thing you can do is to start over. Today, I'm going to help you know when that moment is and how to do it without losing everything you have built. We've spent this month building, simplifying, and making things stick. Today, we close the System Reset series with the question I get asked the most. What do you do when the system just isn't working anymore, even after you've tried to fix it? Now, let me tell you what led to that decision of deletion. I had a content system I had been using for well over 3 to 4 years prior. It tracked everything: ideas, research notes, drafts, editing status, publishing dates, and all the fancy nitty gritties. It was very comprehensive. It also was completely paralyzing me. Every time I sit down to work on a YouTube video and I made a decision that I'm going to get serious with YouTube, I'm going to get serious with my content, I would open my Notion board and feel this wave of overwhelm, not because I had too much to do, but because the system had accumulated so much information, so many ideas that I did not publish, that finding where to actually start felt so impossible. I kept trying to fix it. I archived old ideas and deleted ideas that I never developed. I color coded the active ones. I added the filter for this week only, and none of it worked, because the problem wasn't just the organization inside of the system. The problem was the system of itself. Maybe it was built for a season of business that I had outgrown without even realizing it. And that day, when I finally deleted everything, I was like, okay, I not only need to simplify the system, but I sat on so many pages and ideas that never saw the light of day. And then I was like, no, this has to stop. If I'm going to do content creation, if I'm going to be a content creator and make an impact in the communities that I build, I need to build something that it was simple, something that I look forward to doing every single week and didn't give me that overwhelming feelings. And hear what? Sometimes the old system isn't the foundation for the new one. Sometimes it's the thing that is standing in the way of it. Here's the thing that most creators believe: if I just tweak the system enough, if I recognize it, if I archive the old stuff, if I add better things to it, it will start working. But here's the thing I had to learn: adjusting a system fixes the process, replacing a system fixes the season. Some systems can stop working because of an execution problem, because you're not maintaining it right. The workflow is either too complicated, the tools that you're using could be wrong, and those can be adjusted. But some other systems stop working because they were built for a version of your business or a version of you that no longer exists. The trap is spending months and week in and week out trying to adjust what actually needs replacing. You could be pouring time and energy into a container that was designed for a different life. Knowing which situation you are in is a whole game changer. And believe you me, it makes a difference. So I want you to think about, as you end this month and as you go into the new month, I want you to consider these 4 questions and I want you to honestly answer them. And if you say yes to 2 or more of them, your system doesn't need to be adjusted, it needs to be replaced. Now, the first question, when it comes to me just hitting delete, I had to get an entire list of every single piece of system and tool I was using. Then I asked myself the question, do I feel overwhelming feeling when I open it? Not the dread of work, not the dread of the system, because there is a difference between not wanting to script piece of content and not wanting to open the tool you use to track that specific piece of content. If you feel that specific resistance towards the system itself, if you get that overwhelming feeling or that drop in your stomach when you see that particular tab, that is going to be data for you. Now, here's the thing, a system should feel like a relief to open. Yes, it's time to create. It's like a trusted place where that has all your ideas just waiting to be developed. If it consistently feels like a burden, it is not serving you anymore. And this is going to be the point where you have to be real about yourself and also honestly answer that question. The next question I be asking myself is, am I working around it more than inside of it? The workarounds are the real system. But I want you to pay attention to where you actually capture your ideas, where you track your content and your projects, and how you plan your week. If it's not the system you built and spend a lot of time with, and you spent money to build out that system, and your ideas and all the stuff is contained outside of that system, then your actions have already told you the truth. Your workarounds are not bad habits. They're your real system trying to emerge, so you are going to let them bloom and flourish. The next thing I had to really get into asking myself was was this particular system built for who I used to be? Now, the business and the content you have now may have outgrown the system that you have built back then. So I want you to think back to when you built that system. What did your business look like? What did your content creation cycle look like? What was your capacity to create and to run that system? What were your outputs? What did you actually output from that system? If the honest answer is that you were in a different season, you had a lighter workload, a simpler operation, fewer commitments, then the system was actually designed for that person and not for who you are in this very moment. And listen, I don't want you to think that this is failure or you are failing at running your business or you're failing at running your content or producing content. That's actual growth. And growth requires new containers. And so the next question I want you to ask yourself, have I tried to fix it more than 2 times without a lasting change? Or did I see a lasting change after fixing it? Because at some point, persistence becomes avoidance. There is wisdom in trying to make something work, but there's also wisdom in recognizing when the effort of maintaining the system is costing more than the system is giving back. If you've reorganized, you've archived, you've relabeled, you've restructured the same system multiple times in the past year, it still breaks down because the problem isn't your execution. The problem is the system itself. Now, if you've answered yes to 2 or more, it is time to start over. And I'm giving you permission to hear me clearly. Starting over is not starting from scratch. You know things that you didn't know when you built the first system or when you built the old one. The new system will be built on that knowledge, and that's not a loss, that is a leverage. I want to literally close off this series, the System Reset series, with something that has taken me a long time to fully reach. And I'm now realizing it in this season as I introduce the video portion of this podcast. And even with just having one video per week, now I have 2 videos per week and managing 2 different channels. And I'm realizing so much of different caveats that I have to pivot to. And at one point I felt overwhelmed last week, but I'm like, it's okay to start over, because starting over is not evidence that you fail. It's evidence that you grew. I grew my YouTube channel. So now I'm starting a new one for the podcast. It was something on my list, but the current system that I have doesn't support this new venture. So I have to pivot a little. And this reminds me of Isaiah 43:19, when it says, "Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it?" And so this new thing, this new aspect of the podcast, having a video aspect to it, is that new thing. And because it has sprung up, I now have to perceive it. And I think sometimes we're so busy trying to fix the old thing that we miss the new thing God is already doing. We keep pouring energy into what was because it worked once, because we built it, we loved it, and starting over feels like admitting defeat. But what if it's not defeat? What if it's discernment? What if the ability to let go of what no longer fits, whether it's the system, whether it's the season, whether it's the version of yourself you have outgrown, it's actually an act of faith. Because starting over requires trust. Trust that what you know now is enough to build something better for the next season. Trust the season that you're in is worth designing for. Trust that God is not finished building what He has started in you. And this is so practical for me in this season. I have reached that goal of building Elisha Naomi YouTube channel. I had it on paper. I wrote the vision and made it plain that I wanted to do the video aspect of the podcast. I wasn't waiting for the aesthetic of being in the place where I wanted to look visually and aesthetically. I was like, I'm going to start it. It's not perfect. I'm using the same set design for my regular YouTube videos. And so if you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, please know I have started the video aspect of the podcast, and you can get it on YouTube on the channel called Create the Flow Podcast. But more importantly, is like with this new season, I have to trust that this is something totally different. I'm showing my face now on the podcast, and adding that additional video to my existing workflow, it broke down in the last 3 episodes. I'm being honest with you guys. It broke down because now I'm producing 2 curated videos, and it's taken a little more out of me. I have to plan even better. I have to be very intentional. I have to batch record the podcast episodes. If I record a YouTube video in advance, which I usually do, can I also include in that recording blocker session to record the podcast? And I have been doing that because if you follow me on both channels, you might see a pattern. What I'm wearing in the main YouTube video, on the podcast, the clothing is the same, maybe 2 episodes down. And that is me being very intentional, because what I've realized is this: the blank page isn't a failure state. It is an invitation. And so this week, as you close off this month and as you prepare for the new month, is there something in your business, in your creative workflow, in your creative life, in life in general? Is there a system, a process, a structure that you have been trying to fix? What it actually needs is to be released. I had to release some things in these past 2 weeks with the video aspect of this podcast because I know it's not going to work. I would not be able to show up and just share because it's going to make me feel overwhelmed. And so I had to pivot. I had to like drop certain things. I had to be more intentional. I don't really like planning, but now I have to plan because it's two channels. All right. And I'm doing it all by myself. I'm recording, I'm editing, I'm publishing, I'm engaging, I'm doing my newsletter. There's so many different moving parts, but this is what is required of me in this season. But I really want you guys to like sit with that question this week as you go into the new month. What is that one thing that you have been trying to fix that needs to be released? And then I want you to let go of the system that was built for who you used to be. I had to let go of the current system from last year of what helped me to grow my YouTube channel. And I have to create a whole new system to facilitate this new season that I am in. So let go of that system and that version of who you are that was integrated into that system that was built for who you used to be, and build something designed for who you are becoming and who you are in this season. Now, here is the thing that a lot of people and a lot of creators tend to be carried away with. Once you build a system, all you need to do is tweak it and keep it moving. It works for some areas, but not for creative work. And I realized that in the last few weeks. Okay. Now, if this episode gave you permission to let something go, I want you to share it with someone who needs to hear the same thing. That's the only call to action I have today. Forward it. Share the episode link, leave a review on the audio podcast, or if you're on the audio podcast, come over to YouTube at the Create a Flow podcast and let me know in the comments what these last few weeks have taught you or what this episode has taught you. Because sometimes the most generous thing we can do is pass a permission slip to someone who needs it in this season. And that's what the joy of me doing this and showing up for this for the 4 episodes in is because I know it's helping people out there. And I want to help as many people as I possibly can. So this closes out the System Reset series. We spent April going deeper into the design, the simplicity, what sticks, and the courage it takes to start over. Now, next month, I have a new team that I'm going to be introducing. I want to have these team months because it's easier on me when it comes to the podcast now. And that is going to be the Strategy She Builds series. We are going to open with something I've wanted to say for so long, and is that strategy is not the plan. It is a filter. And so episode 4 to 5 drops next week, and it will change how you make decisions in your business. And also, if you are a content creator, this is going to be so helpful for you because it's going to be coming from a content creator's lens. Okay. So thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. And as always, I am Alicia, and this is how we create a flow.